Welcome to another episode of
The Epic Family Road Trip.
This is our 100th episode. Hard to believe, but we're going to use this episode to reintroduce ourselves, who we are, what we're doing, and why we're doing it. Make sure you stay tuned to the end of this video because we're also on our 100th episode doing a big giveaway of some really awesome gear. So let's introduce ourselves. I'm Peter.
I'm Carol.
I'm Caroline.
I'm Pete Jr. And I'm Dan.
Now let me take you back to the beginning and give you the backstory of how we got started. So now I'm going to tell you how we got started, but in order for me to be able to tell you that, I have to go right back to the beginning. So I am one of 10 brothers. Yes, I grew up in a big family, and what's even more unique, we all worked together for 25 years. Now, way back when my brother was 17, I was 16, we didn't have any money. We borrowed a lawnmower off my dad and we started mowing lawns. And that was really the first chapter of my career as a laborer. But I knew I didn't want to stay there, so I put myself through college to become a skilled laborer, which opened the second chapter of my career. So about 5 years as a laborer, I was now a skilled laborer. It was great work. I graduated as an arborist, so I was one of those guys you see climbing up and down trees with a chainsaw. Along the way, I met my beautiful wife, Carol, and we brought 3 wonderful children into the world, Caroline, Pete, and Dan. And life was good. I was working hard and making pretty good money, and things were great. But then I realized I had to open the third chapter of my career, which was really learning how to run a business, learning about accounting and bookkeeping and sales and marketing and all those important things. Really what we were learning was how to build a brand. You see, as kids, we had a dream to build a brand, not just another company in an already crowded marketplace. And in order to build a brand, we needed to have clearly articulated values. And so we went about articulating our values around the word care, because we were in the lawn care business, but also in the customer care business. And so we took CARE and create a remarkable experience. That became our motto. When I asked someone what they get paid to do, they would say, I get paid to create a remarkable experience. What that did was open our eyes to the needs around us. And it really changed the culture at our work, and it just became an amazing place. You see, our job was to create a remarkable experience for our employees, who in turn would do that for our customers, but it spilled out beyond that into the communities in which we operated. And so we began to really create a movement. Now, 5 years as a laborer, 5 years as a skilled laborer, 5 years learning how to build a brand. Now, at this point, we got the idea to start franchising our business. And so I went back to school to become a certified franchise executive and spent 5 years franchising. By having clear values, we were able to attract to our company like-minded people. A great partner in the US that became a strategic partner to help us build out our company south of the border. So we were spreading across Canada. We were also building now in the US. And it was just amazing attracting all these people who understood what it means to create a remarkable experience, not just for our customers, but our colleagues and the communities in which we operate. Now, we did this program called Design Your Life, where we taught everybody on the team to dream big dreams. Now, I attended that class about 8 years ago, and the instructor gave me the permission to dream a personal dream. See, I was so focused on business that I could tell you our business goals and objectives, but she said, no, what are your dreams for you and your family? So it really made me think, and I sat down and began to write some things. Now, when I was younger, I got to see Yosemite and Grand Canyon and Jasper and Banff and all the great national parks, and I really wanted to give that opportunity to my children. So I wrote down, my big dream is that we could take a 3-month road trip within 5 years. I gave myself 5 years to get in a position where that might be possible, but at the time it was impossible because I was so busy. We could only take 3 days off. You see, our holidays were going to conferences, and then we'd stay an extra day or two and swim in the pool. But I wrote it down anyway. It was a crazy dream. And then I learned a very valuable lesson. You know, as often as I share my corporate dreams with the team at work, as a family, we began to share our personal dreams and keep them in front of us. And you see, you need to have a vision because life is tough and business is tough and you get busy. So keeping that vision in front of us was such a great thing as a family. And we took it and wrote it on a sticky note and pinned it up on the mirror where we brush your teeth in the morning. And that way your dreams stay top of mind. So for any of you, if you have a dream to do something, whatever your dream is, write it down and keep it in front of you and share it together as a family as often as you can. So now I'd spent 5 years as a laborer, 5 years as a skilled laborer, 5 years learning how to run a business, and 5 years as a franchisor. Now that it was the right time for us back in 2015 to merge our company with the company we were working with in the US, and we became part of the Neighborly group of home services. Now, Neighborly does all kinds of home services like Mr. Rooter Plumbing, Mr. Electric. They do glass work, they do home cleaning and handyman services, and now landscaping is part of that through our brand, the Grounds Guys. So after we got acquired, I had a lot more free time and a little bit more change in my pocket, so we knew exactly what we wanted to do. We took that sticky note down off the mirror and we went out and bought a motorhome and we headed out on the road. We had so much fun seeing new places we had never seen before. Now the 3 months came and went very quickly, as you can imagine. We got together as a family and said, do we want to keep going, or have you guys had enough? And of course the kids said, no, let's keep going. There's so many more sites to see. So we said as a family, just like in business, if you have clear values, then it's much easier to plot a course and to have purpose behind what you're doing. So we sat together and we came up with 3 values. The first was work, because nothing good ever comes in life unless you work hard first. So we knew I would have to work hard as a speaker and a coach. The kids knew they'd have to work hard at their school and everything else. So work became our first value. The second one was play. There's an epidemic of anxiety and stress out there in the world today, and we knew that if we could remember to play like we did when we were children, we could find a solution to all that stress and anxiety. So we also knew that a family that plays together stays together. So we would spend as much time as we could playing together, doing awesome things like mountain biking, hiking, and surfing, and all the activities that we enjoy. And the third value we brought over from the business, which was care, create a remarkable experience. And our goal as we traveled was to care by leaving the people we meet and the places we visit a little better than we found them. And when we left armed now with those clear values, all of a sudden opportunities start to present themselves to us. And we were presented with an amazing opportunity to go to Haiti. Now, we talked to the kids and said, Haiti is not a holiday destination. It costs about the same or even more than going to Hawaii, which will be luxury and you'll enjoy yourself. Haiti, you're going to be sleeping in a concrete building on a cot. It's very, very hot all day, and it's just as hot at night. The showers won't cool you down. It's not going to be luxury, but there's a purpose for us going there. Now, the opportunity came from one of our companies, Mr. Electric. Someone got the idea to put together a solar panel, a battery, and a light for 800 families that live in a village called Ferrier. Now, that village had never had an electrical grid. So at night, the children are studying their school by kerosene lamp, and there's all kinds of respiratory problems happening there. So they had an amazing idea to bring down this clean lighting for them. And so they put together 800 lights, and we had the opportunity to go along and to train the villagers on how to use them. And that became such a rewarding experience. Every day, villagers would come into the little outdoor classrooms, and for me as a parent and Carol, to watch our kids, they're young, teaching people 2 times or 3 times their age how it works, and they speak Creole, so there's a bit of a language barrier. But I remember watching my son pointing the solar panel at the sun and saying it collects the energy from the sun, it stores it in this little battery, and then you flick this switch, and when they flicked the switch, the light came on, and you see the wonder and awe in their eyes seeing that for the first time. It was such a rewarding experience. And so we continued to train all the villagers every day until everyone had been trained. And then on the last day, everyone gathered in the little area down there, and the villagers sang songs, and it was just such a beautiful ceremony. We handed out all the lights to them, and a double rainbow formed in the sky, which was just unbelievable. And then as the sun went down, we watched as the villagers walked to their homes with their lights, and the little village of Ferrier lit up for the first time. And it was just such an amazing experience for us. And I always say, when you try to create a remarkable experience for someone else, it always comes back to you in greater measure. And so that was our experience there. We got back to Miami and we're having a drink with ice in it for the first time in many days. We're sitting in air conditioning for the first time in many days. And it was just such a contrast to where we had just been. And the kids were sitting quietly, and I asked my son, what was the impact of this trip? Did it, what was the meaning for you? And he said, he thought for a little while, and then he got up and he said, I am never gonna complain again. And I thought, man, there's already value in this trip for us as a family. I asked my daughter, she's a teenager, and she's sitting there quietly just thinking about it, and I said, so what did this trip mean for you? And she thought about it for a minute and then said, I think I have too much stuff. Wow, as parents, we were like, you don't hear that from a teenage girl. That was amazing insight, because she had seen these villagers who have nothing, and yet they were so happy to take us into their homes, and they were playing games, and things didn't mean as much to them as it does to many of us. And so then I asked Daniel, he was only 12 at the time, and I said, what did you think of this trip? And he thought about it for a while, and then he said, my friend Woodley, he had made a friend down there. He seemed like he was wearing the same shirt, the same clothes every day. Does he have any other clothes? And I said, I don't know, son. I mean, they're pretty poor down there. That might be all he has. And Daniel said, well, that's good because I left my clothes behind for him. He was the same height and size as Daniel. And I thought, man, whenever you try to create a remarkable experience for someone else, it comes back to you in greater measure. We thought we were helping them. That whole experience, they were helping us. So the whole Haiti experience was really the first catalyst for our family to kind of get our mind in the direction of being less attached to material things. We had talked about this for a long time, trying to live more minimalist, less material, being more about experiences than things. But Haiti really was kind of the first step towards that. At the time, we still owned our house back in Ontario. It was just sitting there empty. But then over the next couple of weeks, a few more things would take place that really started us on our journey to living the way we live now. I'm going to ask Carol to come in and help me tell this story, because the first one was, about a month later. Once we got back from Haiti, we carried on our journey with the motorhome, and we ended up in Joshua Tree National Park. And we're climbing a mountain, hiking as we enjoy doing. And there was no cell phone service, until we got to a certain height on the mountain. And then all of a sudden we must have connected with a tower, and ding, 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 all these messages, pictures were coming in. Now my brother had been checking in on our home every once in a while, and that particular morning when he showed up, he noticed something was amiss, and he went in and the place had been robbed, ransacked, everything gone, stolen, smashed, destroyed, broken. That was the second catalyst to help us be freed from material things. In fact, we had a chance to put our money where our mouth was, right? I mean,
yeah, I think so.
I just had at Christmas a huge flat screen TV installed professionally on the wall. These guys came in and professionally uninstalled it, including the sound system. Everything else they smashed and broke. But it was just really, for us, it was an experience that kind of took us to the next level of being free from things.
Yeah, it was kind of weird to see everything that you had worked so hard for 17 years, and it's just gone. But at the same time, it was exactly what Pete said. It was a little bit freeing too.
Yeah. So the first one was Haiti, seeing people living with nothing and still being happy. The second one was, you want to be freed from your stuff. All of a sudden, it's all taken from you. That really gets you going on your journey. And then we carried on through California, and we started going up the coast. We were in Yosemite National Park. Now, our son Pete was starting to lose weight and drink all kinds of water. For a young man, drinking water and losing weight is fairly normal. We didn't think too much of it. We thought, well, he also grew about a foot that year, so he was. But then, yeah, as time went on, he started sleeping more, and he was getting up throughout the night. Things just were abnormal, but we still had no clue what was going on. And he's not a complainer, so he wasn't complaining at all about his condition, but we really noticed it in Yosemite when he took his shirt off, and he had lost a lot of weight, and it concerned us. And we were going to go on a big hike that day. We were going to do Yosemite Falls. It's like 2,500 feet to the top. And we got to the bottom of the climb, and Pete just said, I cannot do this. I can't go on. Now, Pete is one of those, like all our kids, are very athletic. They're just bounding to the top. Me and Carol catch up to them half an hour later. but he couldn't do it. So that concerned us so much. We said, we've got to leave. We've got to go talk to a doctor. So we started packing up. We drove out of Yosemite and went to a little clinic outside of the park and sat there for a while. And then they said, I think you need to go to the hospital. And there's a children's hospital in Fresno. It's about an hour and a half, because I think that the nurse said that your son has type 1 diabetes. Now that's a word we hadn't even heard before. I mean, we'd heard of it. I had a funny thing, the year before I had attended a golf tournament, charity tournament for type 1 diabetes, but I really didn't understand what it was, and I certainly didn't know what the symptoms were. So we rushed to the hospital. They took Pete in right away. Now at this point, if your blood sugar is going all over the place, a kid could go into diabetic coma, which is very dangerous. Pete was getting awful close to that. They took him immediately in and began a UV drip, and they also began to drip insulin into his bloodstream to bring his blood sugar down. But talk about a scary moment. He ended up in ICU for a couple of nights. We were in the hospital for 4 days. I mean, what was the impact of?
I think, you know, we talked about things with our house being robbed in Haiti and our experience. And then I still remember when the doctors were asking us if we believe in praying, and then this is when we need to pray. And that's when I prayed for time. And I think that's all that mattered to us, was time with our children, with each other, especially with Peter at that time.
He was in intensive care for a couple of nights. There's nothing like seeing your child laying there helpless that makes you put everything into perspective. And like Carol said, things weren't important anymore. Money, nothing. Just please give us one more day with our child. We just wanted time together as a family, and it became so crystal clear to us. And that was the third catalyst. We said, this is it. I mean, we just want to do whatever it takes to have more time together as a family, to really enjoy this time. Because you know what, you have a short window. Teenagers aren't around for very long, and then they're on to their careers and their own lives. So we said, we want to continue doing this, and Pete's whole experience there was the last straw, really. And what Carol was saying, we got together as a family and said, you know, this is a life-changing thing. When someone has type 1 diabetes, they are constantly having to manage their blood glucose. Now, we were active, we're doing all these things, climbing mountains. We didn't want this to change Pete's life and restrict him from being able to be the active kid that he is. And so we said, we all have this disease. We're all going to change everything to accommodate this and to make it fit. And so we flew back home to Pete's doctor back in Toronto, and we spent a month there getting stabilized, learning about everything, how to use all the medical tools and so on. And then we went back out west, and within 2 months, Pete is climbing South Sister in Oregon, and we were so proud of him at that moment. What a courageous thing to do. And along the way, he's testing his blood sugar the whole way up, and we have a video of that. If you're interested, we'll try to link it below. But anyway, those three things really were the catalyst behind us doing what we do, and it changed our lives and our perspectives on everything in life. So we knew we could continue traveling together as a family despite Pete's challenges. We knew that, you know, he had found a way through a positive attitude and learning and training to carry on our journey. And so the next move we made was to go back and put our house on the market. We ended up selling our home, and now all of a sudden, it was kind of a scary moment, but it was a fun and exciting moment as well. We were full-time travelers. So we went on and went to every single state and every province. What an amazing experience. So many crazy things we saw, and such a great education for the kids. We wanted to keep going, so we packed up our Jeep and our surfboards and our bikes, everything into a shipping container, all our camping gear, and we shipped it down under to New Zealand. And we spent 6 months down there camping on the beaches and in the mountains and just experiencing so many great things together. Now, as a family and as parents, we didn't just want our kids to be traveling around for the sake of traveling around. Our values were work, play, and care. We were really good at play, but also at work. And the kids started this YouTube channel. That was their idea. And man, they have been teaching themselves so many things over the last 100 episodes. You can see even in the editing, Caroline does all the editing. She taught herself and worked with some great coaches, and you can see the quality now versus our first couple. Learning how to talk on camera, learning how to articulate your thoughts, learning how to work social media. These are all incredible skills that they're learning. Now they're working with brands and products, and it's just been an amazing experience. So yeah, we carried on to New Zealand. That place was amazing. We went over to Australia and drove the Great Ocean Road from Adelaide to Melbourne. We want to do a lot more of Australia someday. We went up to Indonesia and spent time there. The kids got to learn about how they plant rice in the villages there, and in the mud up to their knees, and driving those cattle-driven plows. We got to experience the culture there and how everything works. I mean, it was just such an educational experience, opening our eyes to the world around us. We came back to America and continued on our journey. We've gone to Newfoundland, way on as far east as you can go, in Alaska, and now down into Mexico recently, which was just a fabulous experience. It's been almost 4 years. And so people ask us, how long are you going to go? What are you going to do? We don't know. We really don't know. We're learning to sustain ourselves on the road financially through speaking, through coaching, through working on social media, and that's our goal. We enjoy this lifestyle. It's not for everybody. It's not luxurious. We're camping. I mean, it's a different lifestyle. The whole overlanding thing, we're really starting to understand it, and we enjoy it. Doing it on the weekends is one thing. Doing it full time is a whole nother ball game. But we're having fun because we have a mission and a goal and a purpose. We're not just traveling for the sake of traveling. We have a mission to spread the culture of care, the idea of care, that whole idea of creating a remarkable experience, which allows us to make the world a better place, whether it's at our workplace, whether it's in our home, or in the communities in which we operate. And like I said, when you have a mission to create a remarkable experience, the opportunities present themselves to us. When we were in New Zealand, the opportunity presented itself for us to go and help rescue 120 whales off a remote beach. Now, I think if we hadn't had our values top of mind, it probably wouldn't have been something that we would have been able to go and do. But because, I always say when values are clear, decision making is easy. And because we were there for the purpose of creating a remarkable experience, for leaving the people we meet and the places we visit better than we found them, that opportunity presented itself, and we packed up our gear. We headed 4 hours through the remote wilderness to a beach way up there where they said there's no food, no water, and only come up here. We desperately need your help, but only come up if you can take care of yourself. And of course we could, with all the gear and food we have stacked in our Jeep. And so that became another, just like Haiti, one of the most rewarding experiences we've ever been fortunate enough to participate in, and all because I think the kids acted on a simple value to create a remarkable experience. And so many other opportunities have presented themselves to us as we travel around. And so we want to continue to share the culture of care, to share the message of care to as big an audience as possible. And we do that from the stages at corporate events, we do that from trade shows, we do that using our social media platform, our YouTube channel. And you can help us if you're interested in sharing the culture of care. There's so many ways you can get involved and really help us in our mission to make the world a better place. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for, we'd like to introduce our great giveaway. Now, we're doing this as a thank you to all of our subscribers on YouTube and all the people that follow us on Instagram. Thank you for supporting our channel for the last 100 weeks. It's hard to believe it's been that long. It's pretty exciting. We also want to do a big thank you to the amazing brands that have participated in this giveaway. There's some really cool stuff that we've been using for the last 4 years on the road, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So for all the instructions on how to be part of this giveaway, go down to the description below here on YouTube, and also go over to Instagram. We're at Epic Family Road Trip, and the instructions will be there as well. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more adventures coming out every week, and click on the links at the end of this video to watch one of our previous adventures.
And a big thank you to our patrons. Thank you for your support.
And in the meantime,
we'll see you down the road.